Hello, and welcome to The Difference Makers, the show that empowers you to wake up to your highest potential, learning from visionary leaders who share their stories, tips, and strategies so you can make a bigger difference too. Hi, I'm your host, Lynn Sanders, and I am so glad you're here. We have a very exciting topic today. It's attracting success from your stories. And we have an amazing guest who can help you make a bigger success for yourself through your stories. Her name is Carrie West, and this is my second time interviewing her because she has so much to offer. She is a transformational story coach and a highly sought after speaker who talks about the importance of understanding the story of our life and how we function. We all need to know that. Carrie is also the author of Memoir of an Ordinary Person and Her Journey to an Extraordinary Life. I love that title. And she has raised over $20,000 in sponsorship funding. $20,000. Just think about that. She did that through her power of her stories, and she is using that funding to publish her book. Carrie's also helped hundreds of people and is committed to bringing a new perspective to help others lead successful, happy lives. Thank you for being here, Carrie.
It's wonderful to be back. Thank you so much for having me back.
I am really glad you're here because people are going to learn more today than perhaps they've ever learned because you have more to add to your story. So first, for those who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about your story and how you got to where you are?
Yes, thank you. Hi, everybody, and thanks for having me here into your home today. I had a very humble beginning, very humble beginning in my life. My parents basically rejected me when I was born, and it was tragic the number of times I was close to death and how I was pulled back from those situations in the most incredible ways. And it led to a difficult first couple of years of my life. And then I went to film school because that was a dream. I don't even know how I followed a dream because at that point I had such terribly low self-esteem and so thought so badly of myself. But I needed to do something. And so I was living on the East Coast, and the chance to move out to California was just too enticing. I had to do it. I found out later that that was all part of this story I was rewriting for myself. But when I was in film school, I learned the power of storytelling. And it occurred to me that my life had become a tragic story. And I'd been in enough meetings with creative people where we talked about changing the tempo or changing the theme or changing the story. And I thought, I wonder if I can change my life story. And that set me on the journey of changing my life to now where I have a successful business. I'm in an incredibly wonderful relationship. I have a dog who really runs our household. It's, I like to pretend I'm in charge, but it's really his house. And I'm happier than I ever thought possible. It's just been a miraculous journey.
Wow. Well, what I love about what you just said is you decided to change your story. And what you're implying, and I'd like you to talk more about, is the inner story that we carry within us. You change that inner story, which ultimately changed the outer story. So tell us more about why it's important for people to understand their inner story.
Inner stories drive us. And it can be a little short story of I'm not good enough, or I don't think I'd ever be able to succeed at doing that, or why would anyone want to go out on a date with me, or why would anyone love me? There's any number of stories that we tell ourselves about the quality of person that we are, or what do we deserve. The deserving is the important one. If we don't feel we deserve, we don't even try sometimes because we don't think we deserve. So why bother? These are all the stories that we tell ourselves. So when you can understand that those are bad messages that you received, think about watching a TV show and a commercial comes up and it's all these images and all these messages that all gets taken into our subconscious and our unconscious minds. Well, if you already have a feeling of feeling bad about yourself, if you see a message about feeling bad about yourself, that lands for you. That goes in even harder because you already have the ground ripe for that message to come in. And those become such a key part of how you exist. But you can stop that. You can change that. I went through a period where I just stopped watching TV commercials, or I'd put them on silent, or, you know, the beauty of the DVR, I could just race by them because they really were starting to, I was starting to see how they affected me. And that's the key. How are all these messages affecting you and the story that you're living? Once you can realize that, the first thing is recognizing it and knowing that it's there. Then when you can acknowledge that that's mine, once you own it, you can change it.
Wow. That's so true. So tell us, what are the tips that you can offer? So they say someone's in the doldrums, and a lot of people are facing a lot of depression. Mental health is having a major crisis right now. What did you do, and what would you recommend others do to change their inner story?
The first thing is you got to stop it. You have to stop in your tracks and say, wait a minute, what am I doing? When you can stop and say, what am I doing? That gives you the chance to take ownership. When you can own that nothing is happening to you, no one is blaming you, no one is coming at you. It's the tape loop, it's the story that's been on repeat and repeat and repeat in your mind and soul and heart. So once you can stop and recognize the story and say, oh my God, no wonder I'm not happy. I don't believe I deserve to be happy. Or no wonder I'm not successful. I believe I have to work hard. You know, my father had a wonderful saying that was it blew my mind, but he would say, well, first you work hard and then you die. And it's like,
Oh my God, that's
what
horrible.
it's wonderful in that when I recognize that story in myself, that work hard and then you die, that felt so hopeless to me. And
Right.
I didn't want to live a hopeless life. I wanted to believe that life is filled with hope. And as soon as I did that, I started seeing signs of hope in my life. It's amazing to me how once you decide to see your life through a new story, through a different script, how your life will comply with that. I'm working with this client now, and he said, well, what do I do every time I go to see my mom? You know, she's dying and I don't know what to do. So I try to clean her house. I try. I said, why don't you just go and sit with her?
Mm.
Don't try, just be.
Mm-hmm.
What? I said, that will change the script. Once you change your script, she has to change.
Right. Exactly. You're talking about state of being. So when we get back to the title of our program, Attracting Success, and what does success mean? And I have a feeling you're going to talk about the inner self here, because you obviously were saying new thoughts to yourself to have a different result at the end. I don't know if you do affirmations or meditation or some spiritual practice, but I would love you to give us a little more depth now into how you attracted success. What were
Yep.
some tips you can offer?
I absolutely have meditation practice, but I also take control and take charge of my life. And every morning, I'm not a morning person. I'm not one of these people that jumps out of bed and says, yay, happy day. I'm one of these people that's groggy until I've had my second or third cup of coffee. But once I have that second or third cup of coffee, I say to myself, let's make today an amazing day.
I love
Today
it.
is an amazing day.
Great.
And even if stuff goes on, even if I get that call from somebody who's upset about something or whatever, when I get off the call, I'll say, I am so happy. I love myself.
I love
I
that.
Yep. It's interrupting any kind of bad thought that tries to get in. Because let's face it, we are bombarded. Newspapers, everybody wants to sell fear. So they have headlines that just promote scary things. You got to cut those out or not take them in. So every day I wake up with that. Today's an amazing day. And then in my success, when I was putting together this campaign to get the money for my book, I woke up every morning and I made sure the first thing on my mind was that I was deserving and I was worthy. Because here's the thing, I think everybody is deserving. I don't think there is a being on this planet that is not deserving of full happiness and love and success. But we have forgotten that.
Mm.
We have forgotten that it's our human right to be deserving.
Right. Because we're hearing negative messages all the time.
And because our soil has been, we've planted seeds about negativity from childhood or from society or from having a bad experience, and it's stuck with us. So those messages can take root. They can come into our rich soil of negativity inside of us and take root. So you have to redo your soil. You have to redo the story. I know there's a lot of metaphors going on here, but for me, I had a script of this was not going to be a good story with a happy ending. So I would be drawn to bad messages. The way I changed it was, nope, I'm changing the story. My ending is a happily ever after ending. And when I did that, I started taking responsibility for my life and taking the steps, taking actions to make sure I rewrote that script. So I put in new messages. I put in new ideas of what that meant to be happy. And that's why every day let's have an amazing day today. It's almost like I'm saying, yay team, let's have an amazing day today.
Exactly. You're putting
Yes.
into your brain cells. I love everything you're saying. We're definitely on the same page. I wake up in the morning saying affirmations and meditation and programming my brain, because just like you, I realize we're being bombarded by negative thoughts, emotions, news. And so what you're telling everyone, which is so important, is it's all a choice. We get to choose our story, and you can choose to shift the story and make it positive. I would like you to, I love that. We need more people like you out in the world, Carrie, speaking and letting people hear your message. Now tell us, I'm finishing a crowdfunding campaign myself, and I haven't got, my goal has been 10,000, not 20,000. And I'm, been creeping up, and I'm not near the goal yet. And it's fine. I know I'm working hard at it. I would love to hear what are other strategies and tips you can offer those who are nonprofits or people who are entrepreneurs wanting to do crowdfunding. And let us also know, what is the difference between getting sponsors for crowdfunding versus donations?
Yes. Boy, there's a lot there. Let me start with the whole crowdfunding. Again, when I first started crowdfunding, I thought, I'll just put my campaign out there and they will come. If you build it, they will come. When they didn't come, I was like, what happened? So I went to work, and I went to work first by saying, change that expectation that if you put something out there, people will come. That can happen. I'm not saying it can't. It can happen. But based on my background and my previous story, I knew I had to work it through a little bit differently. So what I did was I started sending, instead of group emails, because a lot of people would say, send out a group email to everybody. I sent out personal emails, and it was long. It took me a lot of time, but I sent out over 100 personal emails to people and connected with them, because here's the thing. A lot of people don't know me. And there's so much going on in the world right now. There's so many campaigns. There's so many authors out there writing books. How am I going to differentiate myself from everybody out there? And I thought, well, one of my most fun things is connecting with people. So I'm going to connect. And I sent out all these emails. And then I even thought, for some people, I'm going to send a personal handwritten note to their mailbox, because who gets mail anymore?
That's terrific idea. Right.
Nobody gets mail anymore. It's if you get anything, it's now advertisements. Most people even get their bills and all their stuff sent by email. So if I sent a handwritten note to people, you wouldn't believe the response to that. People just said, I haven't gotten a nice note in the mail in years. I don't know the last time I did that. So not everybody contributed to the campaign, but it got their attention. And it got their attention for emails. And you know, I built now a list of people that I stay in touch with. I took every opportunity for that. When I was on an airplane, the people I was sitting next to, if they said, "What are you up to? What are you doing?" I told them. And I had cards. I had little cards in my pocket, not business cards, but a card that would say who I am and what I did. It was a bookmarker for a lot of time, for a long time, because heck, if I'm writing a book, give them a bookmarker. That made sense to me.
Yeah.
So you had to find a way for people to remember you and to feel good about knowing you. And that was something I worked at. And actually, it turned out I loved it. I loved connecting with people that way. The other thing I did is I looked for sponsors, and I didn't know exactly what that meant when I first did that, because I didn't know what I would have to offer in return for getting a sponsor. But it turns out, when you understand the title of your book or the message you're trying to get across, like what we've been talking about is helping people have a positive view. And like you said, I'm on a mission. You know, I like to say I'm changing the world one story at a time. If you can find groups or organizations that support that, and because a great deal of my background involved trauma and healing my trauma, there's a lot of trauma groups out there that will support you in getting a message out about how to live with trauma, how to heal trauma, how to move beyond trauma. And so I would reach out to these different groups. There wasn't a lot. I targeted specifically who would be interested in what my message was and what my mission was, what my goal was. And, you know, again, personal notes, calls. If they were local, I went into the office and just said, I want to introduce myself. I know I'm coming in on the cold here, but if somebody can talk, if not, just here's my card. I'd love to get in touch with people. The other thing is you have to be fearless, but you also have to be gentle with yourself, because not everyone will respond. Not everyone will respond, and you have to let that be okay. Everybody is busy. Everybody has a stack of emails that they haven't gone through. Everybody has not only their work issues, but they have stuff going on in their personal lives. So you have to be gentle with yourself and appreciate that you won't hear back from everybody. I'm amazed that I heard back from as many as I did. And even you, Lynn, have said that. And so many people have said, it's amazing how many people did respond to you. And I think that's because I was fearless and I was kind. I wasn't pushy about it. I was matter of fact, and I just wanted to connect and relate. My ultimate goal was, hey, I just want you to know I'm here. I want you to know this is what I'm doing. And people responded to that. Because, you know, again, in today's world, there's so many people looking for help and support. So how am I going to be different from the hundreds, and in some cases, thousands of calls they're getting a week?
Right. What you're saying is so important. You're working on building a relationship first, not asking for money first. And when you sent out cards, were those for people who had already been a sponsor, or were they just people who you knew you wanted to reconnect with?
Sometimes they were strangers.
Really?
Sometimes it was just a stranger that I wanted to introduce myself. I got the idea because I'm in Santa Barbara, and the real estate market here is really strong. And we get letters every day from realtors that say, we can get you the best offer for your house. And so I thought, that's the real estate market. How can I apply that to what I'm doing? Because I don't think there's a lot of authors out there. Believe it or not, there's not a lot of authors out there writing letters to possible sponsors. So I thought, isn't that kind of weird? I mean, the truth is, a lot of authors are very much into, you know, staying in their own space. So the fact that I was being so out there, I think kind of surprised some people. But but I took an approach of, I just want to get to know you. And I want you to get to know me. Would you be open to that?
Mm-hmm.
No other promises, just would you be open to getting to know me and I get to know you?
That's beautiful. You know, most people are craving that right now. Everybody is in their own little space, and many people feel isolated. And what you're saying is you reached out just to get to connect with someone and know them, and they felt that positive energy coming from you, so that what
Yeah.
they were pushed and they wanted to support you. And you
Mhm.
also targeted organizations that you knew would benefit from your story.
Yeah.
It's
And
just
I offered them something in return. You know, I'll be happy to come and speak to your group. So I'd love to meet some of the people you're working with. Can I join a roundtable discussion of how you're coping with these things? You know, so I offered something in exchange. This was not a what can you do for me kind of a situation. This
right.
was, what can we do together? How
I
can I support what you're doing?
I think that's a key difference with sponsorships versus donations, because tell us more of how you feel it's different. Donations, you're just giving to a cause, right?
Yeah, when you're asking someone to back your campaign, it's just that. I have this mission I'm on. Will you support my mission?
Mm-hmm.
When I'm looking for sponsorship, it's bigger. I'd like to get a bigger sponsorship of my campaign. But the biggest thing that I will do is have access to your membership and have access to the people that know you. And again, we always look for positive reviews when you're looking at a new business. You look to see how many positive reviews they have, or what's the feedback you're getting on them. So how I was looking at, how can I jumpstart getting a lot of positive reviews, and how can I jumpstart getting a lot of positive feedback? Well, at that point, my email list was about 50, and it jumped over 700 in this whole campaign
Oh my
process.
gosh. Wow.
I know, but I still have a mission. My next mission is 1,500. I want to double that, and I'm working on that now.
Wow.
Because to me, and that's the other part, this shifted my story tremendously, because my story was not about a long-term relationship with what I was doing. My previous story was about get in, excuse me.
Take your time. This is fascinating.
My previous story was about get in, get out, get on with it.
Mm.
And this story, I decided, had to be a long-term commitment to the goals I wanted to achieve.
And what are those goals, Carrie? That leads us to the
Well, one of the things is getting this message out to people about changing your story.
mm-hmm.
And honestly, it is incredibly easy to change. When you change your story, it changes your mindset.
Yes.
It's incredibly easy. And all you need to do is make the decision to live that new mindset, live that new story.
Yes. Change your story to change your life. That's what you're all about.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. And you're tracking your followers through what? Do you have your own email list, or do you use a specific platform that you check?
I have, I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Oh. I have I have an email platform that I use. I use, there's so many out there.
Yes.
I use MailerLite, if that means anything to people. And I have my own personal email list that I use. So I have a number of different ways to track and keep
Great.
lists of people that I know.
So you have a gift for everyone today. What can you
Yes.
tell us what the gift is?
Yes. If you want to go to my website, carriecasey.west.com, I have a free 15-minute call where we can just it'll be amazing how quickly you'll understand your current story and how you can make some changes within days to just get to the heart of your story and make a change. And that's all for free. If you just go to my website, it's on the front page. to sign up for a free 15-minute call, and we'll talk about your story.
Thank you. So it's carriecasey.west.com, everyone. Before we conclude, I wanted you can reaffirm what you said, thing you said earlier, but share with us what's the most important thing that you would want listeners to remember from this program of attracting success from your stories.
The most important thing I want you all to remember is you can do it. You can achieve and reach the results that you want. You can reach your dreams. Anything is possible.
I love that. Anything is possible. Remember that. You can do it. Thank you so much, Carrie. You have been amazing, and I'm so grateful to have you here. And for everyone listening, remember, you can do it. You make a difference. And as I like to say, we get to choose what kind of difference we want to make. Thank you again. Have a terrific day. Bye-bye.